Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Hi, my name is Bunmi. If you're new here, welcome. Oh, you can see my peaches in the background. Anyways, ignore it. Today we're talking about Genesis 6 and we're talking about the fallen angels came into play and how it's relating to how the Greek mythology came into place, which is quite interesting, So in verse 1 it says, "And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and the daughters were born unto them." Verse 2, that the sons of God, which are the fallen angels now that we know them as, saw the daughters of men that they were fair, because obviously, God created women to be all beautiful. Our beauty tempted son of God to rebel against God. Bizarre. And they took them wives of which they chose. He's talking about the angels got put in charge to watch over us humans. Due to their free will and allowing sin to enter the mind, these thoughts made them spring into action of sleeping with women, making their own children. In Greek mythology, these are the semi and demigods like Zeus. These angels taught women about makeup, astrology, weapons, and how to kill and more. Read the book of Enoch to understand this more. This behavior led to the Noah's Ark and the flood that erased earth, which is something that we will talk about down the line. And so in verse 3, "And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. And I feel like this is how, in those days, this is how long God waited on people living godless lives to change their ways. And those people particularly that I feel like were more led astray or more, possessed or manipulated were the generations of Cain, because they lived a godless life due to the sins of their forefathers, which is Cain for killing Abel. Before the flood came, the anguish and sadness God must have felt with the ways his creation were living must be like, wow. It's a lot more easier to just go to the next best thing, which is worshipping idols, which is, looking at the sons of God as these new gods in their life, if that makes sense. These were giants in the earth in those days and also after that. When the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, they bare children to them, and the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. I wrote, these are the demi and semi-gods in Greek mythology. This is why I had to stop watching Marvel, as it glorifies blaspheming against God. This fallen angel wreak havoc on earth with their powers. So I kind of feel like, yeah, these are what the Greek people associated as mini gods, because of course they came on earth. They must have shown them a lot of splendor, showed them loads of secrets of heaven, which is what made God even more upset by it. And not only that, their offspring was causing havoc on earth. Violence was also very, very present in their time. And God saw that the wickedness of men was great in earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So literally, I guess once you get the taste of what you deem as freedom, the ability to do whatever you want without being reprimanded, it's bound to happen for them to continually do evil, because there's no one to stop them or put down the law on them. And because they were giants, because the children that they created were giants, the Nephilims, who was going to stand against them? No one, not the mere humans. And their parents, the fallen angels, were not doing anything about it. They were probably encouraging those atrocities happening, and they were just enjoying sleeping with the women. And if you're into Greek mythology like I was, I would read back to back about these, gods and all of that. You would understand what they were doing, how they were being conniving and manipulative and cunning in how they acquired the women. And he repented that the Lord that he had made man on earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And so, as always, it was normal for God to be upset by what he sees, because a lot of people were crying out unto him And the Lord says, because a lot of people were dying, so obviously they were crying out to some sort of God or someone to come and rescue them. And yeah, it really, really grieved God, because God's plan for earth was to be fruitful and multiply, and they were doing the complete opposite, which is bad. Because I'm sure, like in the book of Enoch, if there was not food to eat, like animals to eat, they would eat humans as well. It was just cannibalism. It was just really, really bad. But Noah found grace in the eyes of God. And I said, I pray that in the midst of our sinful nature, we find favor in the eyes of God. Just like Noah found favor in the eyes of God despite the chaos and atrocity happening. I pray we continue to have the heart and faith of Noah in the face of sinful acts. We stay away from things that grieves God's heart, while earnestly praying for the spiritual eyes of others in sin to be opened, so that they can have a relationship with God, you know. And so these are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation, and he walked with God, just like his generation prior, which is, you know, Enoch. Enoch was known to have walked with God. The book of Enoch is where you see the secrets of heaven being shown to Enoch, the things of today, yesterday, and the future. He saw everything, even people that before they were born. He saw us before we were born. So obviously, like, you know, Enoch must have passed down, you know, how to walk with God earnestly with Noah. And I wrote, perfect in his generation meant Noah's bloodline did not mate with the fallen angels that went on to women. Noah came from the lineage of Seth, whose generation loves God, unlike Cain's generation that led a godless life. It was easier for the fallen angels to go into them because of their socialization, and easier to manipulate, you know. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Joseph. The earth, sorry if I butcher the names. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. As I mentioned previously, the Nephilims were wreaking havoc. Yes, this yeah, they were wreaking havoc. It was so bad, so much worse. A place God created to be peaceful, the devil and demons turned it into chaos. God did not design earth to be plagued with sin, suffering, and death. Satan is the root of all evil after Adam and Eve fell for the temptation by eating the fruit from the tree of life and death. They died spiritually, and he allowed sin to wreak havoc. Satan thought he won, not knowing that God saw this coming and had Jesus prepped for thousands and thousands of years to bring us back to him. Despite God knowing that men will fall because he created us, he still gave us free will to choose anyways. And the free will is just to test to see if we're going to be obedient to God, or if we're going to turn the other way around. And also I wrote this semi and demigods in Greeks were the offsprings of the Son of Man with humans. They told them loads of atrocity, which resulted in violence, manipulating heavenly knowledge for evil, such as astrology, witchcraft, terminating pregnancies, and the rest basically. And also allowing the humans to worship them as a god, if that makes sense, which is blasphemy. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all the flesh had corrupt his ways upon the earth. And yeah, as normal, as expected, it vexed God really much. And then this is where God had to step in with the ark. And verse 13, and God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. And so that is what God promised. And make thee an ark of joppa wood, which is a wood that I'm curious about what is defined as right now for us in this current day. The joppa wood, I wonder what wood it is and why God specified that wood, because maybe it was durable, maybe it could withstand days of rains, months of rain, or maybe it could withstand all the stress, and it had like basically durability in it. Room shalt thou make in the ark, and shall pitch it within and without with pitch, and this is the fashion which thou shalt make of it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, and the breadth of it shall 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. So this is super yacht before a super yacht was a thing, and that is because of the vast amount of animals that had to go on there, you know, which is something we're gonna go down, because 7 pure for clean animals it needed 7 of them, and for the unclean one it needed 2. So you can imagine the amount of animals that were on board. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in the cubit shalt thou finish it above. The door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof with lower, which is the first ground, second ground, and third ground, shalt thou make it. And so yeah, this was like, God is very, like, God is a mighty God of details. His attention to detail is second to none, showing that he cares about us just as much. God takes his time with his creation, is taking in details to build an ark that will preserve mankind and its nature, animals. Why did God tell Noah to use joppa wood? Like I said, because I always feel like there was a reason why. It must have been super important to God for him to have said that word. Now the ark represents a shield of protection over our lives as God righteous being, the same way the ark was built big and strong to shield Noah's family during the great big flood. It is the same way God shields over our lives. Even though we walk through the valley of shadow of death, we shall fear no evil, for he is with us, which is Psalm 91. The building of the ark is a great testament to having faith. Even in the direction and the silence in the waiting, God is still with us, working all things out. He hasn't abandoned us, even if it feels like that. So basically, God told Noah to build the ark, and it took Noah almost like a year or couple of years actually to build the ark, because it was quite a massive one, and it was just him and his family building the ark. They didn't have all this technology that we do now. And behold, even I do bring a flood of water upon the earth to destroy all flesh. Within is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy son and thy wife and thy son's wife with thee. So basically, God was like, bring all your family with you. This is the same thing that God will do on the last day, calling his children into heaven. The flood foreshadowing the end of time for human. Again, as mentioned, Genesis is the book of first. Everything mentioned throughout the Bible relates back to Genesis. Jesus declares, as it was in the days of Noah, so it will also be in the days of the Son of Man. They ate, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark, and the flood came. And the flood came and destroyed them all. This was Jesus discussing his coming in Luke 7:26-27. People thought they were living normal lives during the time Noah lived, just before the flood. They were oblivious to the impending disaster. During the days of Noah, it seems God gave humanity 120 years to change his evil ways. God says, my spirit shall not strive with men forever, as it is indeed flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. During these 120 years, Noah preached a warning message, and God waited patiently for a heartfelt reform. Unfortunately, the people did not respond. They did not care. They continued to live their lives the way they pleased. They ignored God, and the longer they persisted, the more unsounding their reasoning became, and the harder it became for them to change. And the lifestyle people are living now is parallel to that of Noah's days. You know? And yeah, that's literally what I wrote. And every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shall thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female, of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping things of the earth after its kind. 2 of every sort shall thou come unto thee, to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for good, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah according to all that God commanded him. The same thing that happened in the beginning. of the world, you know, is what is happening right now currently, you know, with so many demonic messages being sent out via the media, so many like disasters happening, idol worshipping. It's just it's so crazy how the world is turned into like a wreck, if that makes sense. But thank goodness that Jesus died on the cross for us to save us and to restore us back to God and allow that communication to happen, you know, because thank you Jesus, like honestly, thank you Jesus for, what do you call it, for literally like dying on the cross to save us and reconnect us back to God. I'm forever grateful for that. I don't think we thank Jesus enough for the sacrifices he did, for the shedding of his life on the cross that he did, because I don't think you guys understand how slow and painful Jesus' death was, and how the pain of everything, like when you look at it medically, when I tell you that the things that Jesus faced made it medically, a human body right now can't face that without medical attention within seconds. Otherwise, that is guaranteed death, you know. Not only was it whipped with like, you know, chains, it was, there was torn on his head, they pierced his rib as well. It was just, yeah, it's just sad. And the nailing of his wrist right there, honestly, truthfully, like I'm so grateful that God eventually um did a covenant with himself through Jesus Christ so that I can keep it, because throughout the Bible we can see that he made covenants with so many people and it was broken time and time again. And yes, God never gave up. Instead, he just sent Jesus to die on our behalf and like rescue us from ourselves, basically. So yeah, this concludes the end of Genesis 6. There's so much details I would like to go into, but I'm short for time. And yeah, see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys. Bye.